Yeah, my life is going great, by the way. Thanks for asking. Yeah, just everything has been... Nothing really has been going on other than the fact that everything changed. Atoms, they're different now. And yet, here we are in a world that appears to be consistent. Why is that the case? I would say it's because of money. I mean, money is really what makes the world go round. And if you want to give me any of it, I don't say no to money, unless I have to work for it. Now, I do have a job, and I do get paid for it. And so the way I get around that is I try not to work as much as possible. So I'm getting paid, and I have a job, but I don't work. See, all of those things can be true at the same time. There's actually a lot of jobs like that. I think you'd be surprised. Or you wouldn't be. Maybe you have one of them. Maybe you're the county dust inspector. Maybe you're like a hedge fund freak. Like, you know, I mean, whatever floats your boat. But we're just saying, like, if there is a boat and it's floating away and there's a finite amount of people who can get on it, it's going to be whatever floats our boat, and it might not be you. I'm not saying I want that to happen. I don't want to do a Noah's Ark thing, but I'm also saying, like, I would probably just want to try to keep the ones that don't suck. Am I some kind of eugenics guy? No. It's not good where you get to a point where you have to say that. Well, you know, nothing. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, and you gotta remember this. Everything I say is not what I meant to say. Every time I'm speaking, you should assume I'm misspeaking. Every single word, assume it could be the wrong word. And so this is what I would take to court. I would say, Your Honor, I'm not mentally challenged. I'm not mentally ill. I'm just dumb. I'm just really stupid, and I'm really sorry. And if it turns out that if I wasn't sorry, that would lead to a better outcome, I'll just say, well, that's what I meant to say. So they can never pin you down. You're invincible. You can't lose. You just have to declare it, though, like, legally. You can go to town hall, you can fill out a form, it's called the dipshit form. They saw me, they pulled it out immediately. I said, I didn't even fucking say anything yet. How do you know I don't want to renew my car's registration? Or register a boat? Own your stupidity. Stupidity could be a way to truth somehow. Now hear me out on this. Hear me out on this one. Stupidity is really just defined as, like, somebody who doesn't think in the ways that most people think, in a way that might be detrimental to them. But a stupid person can use the weapon of stupidity against all of the things that adult human beings think are true but are really bullshit. A stupid person would just kind of see through that just by virtue of the fact that they didn't learn the normal way, because they actually can't. But if they don't have some of those filters, then maybe they can, in some ways, be more connected to reality. Reality's inherently dumb. We don't think of nature itself being intelligent. So then to become like nature, you just kind of, you know, drop the IQ down a few points, you know? The more IQ points you got, the more stuff you know. The more stuff you know, the more confusing things are. Things are very clear if you don't have all the ideas that you have, which really sounds like it doesn't make any sense, but actually it's the only thing that could possibly be true. What else could be true? If you have an answer to this question, I would like it in a very long and rambling, looks like something would write in the walls of an insane asylum. No paragraph breaks, no punctuation. Just send me that, and if it's like hundreds of pages, even better. Those are the kinds of things I learn from. Stuff that people wrote on bathroom walls. Another thing I know is that Angela Loves Peter, 1995. So that's a little piece of history for you. You can learn everything. You can learn everything. You can learn how to build a car. I mean, I can't. I bet you could, though. Whoever you are hearing this, whoever you are listening to this, I think you could build a car, and I don't care if you want to or not. You gotta do it. Where did I think of this idea? What am I talking about? I don't care. I don't know. And honestly, the fact that anybody would ask me what I'm talking about, it just makes me so mad. You know, I'll be talking to people and they're like, you know, what are you talking about? And I'm just like, that's none of your business. You worry about what you need to say, like, blah, 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 or, you know, some of the hits like that. What I want to get started is, like, if you want to have a conversation with someone, but it's reached a natural ending point, you can ask your conversational partner, you can be like, do you want to go blah, blah, blah mode now? And they'll be like, sure. And you'll just say blah, 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 blah. Sometimes you just want to talk, and it doesn't matter what you're talking about. So if you can get some blahs in there, if you're at the blah level with somebody, you can absolutely, you know, get this started. Try it. It might feel crazy the first few minutes, but you get into a rhythm. Blah, 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 blah. For anybody who's paying for the premium feed of this, which is completely the same except I add cool jungle music underneath, this is the best podcast ever made. You've never seen anything like this because it's audio. So you've never seen audio. So it would technically be true to say you've never seen anything like this. You can only hear sounds, you can't see them. So anyway, coming up later we get some guy named Slurp Von Lipstick. We recently found out that became aware of the fact that Slurp Von Lipstick is in fact responsible for the existence of time itself, I guess. I mean, I don't know if I'd say we found it out. It's more like he just said it, you know, and there could be something to it. We don't know. We're having scientists look into it. Like, I'm asking one scientist. I'm like, you know, hey, can one guy, like, control time? And he said, maybe. This is one of those cool scientists, you know, they think that, like, the moon is alive. Like, one of those kind of scientists, you know, like a cool one. So, I mean, I don't care. I don't care what time. I never know what time it is. Unless I'm at work, then I always know what time it is. And so I'm forced to know what time it is against my will. And I think it should be a fundamental right of all humans, Americans at the very least, that I have a right to not know what time it is. If you come up to me in the street and ask me what time it is, I am allowed to ignore you. I'll feel compelled to tell you anyway, because I guess it's important to you. But just know that, like, I'm doing it under duress. What time is it? 4 o'clock? 12 o'clock? I don't know. They're just numbers. I guess the fact that, like, knowing that Slurp Von Lipstick is every minute that passes, every hour, it requires Slurp Von Lipstick to allow time to continue. And I guess that just makes me feel like time is kind of, like, tainted now. Like, it's just kind of gross to me because it has to do with him. Worst thoughts I've ever had. That's even for, like, this. Man, really bad show. Well, I gotta have the police. I need to have my own police. I have to define my own law. I have to say, here's my law. This is what I'm sticking to. And I codify these as, like, you know, enforceable. I'll just hire, like, a former cop, like a seasoned guy, a seasoned vet, and like employ him as like a private eye to follow me around to make sure I'm following my own law. And if he sees me doing an infraction, doesn't matter where it is, doesn't matter the time, he's going in full force like fucking Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's kicking down the door, he's shooting indiscriminately. And, like, you don't need to shoot anybody. And I specifically instruct them, if you see me breaking actual laws, like the laws of the land, you didn't. So, it's just my stuff it's my laws you gotta worry about. Well, that was everyone's favorite feature. That was the feature where I knock over a glass of water and it spills on my desk. Thank God that wasn't the legend, the great Glass Johnson. Still, he's unscathed. That was not him. That was a stand-in Glass. Guess Glass Johnson's. I mean, that glass didn't even break, so actually it's totally fine. But actually, how did it not break? I guess I caught it. I can't remember what happened in the moment. There was so much adrenaline. Glass Johnson, I think I would be willing to bet, is the jealous type, seeing that other fill-in glass get all this attention, all this hullabaloo over this mishap. I think he's at home watching and he's crying. He's saying, I'm out of a job. And the only way he can cry is to just like drip a little water out the top of him every now and then. If he doesn't have any water in him when he wants to cry, too bad, he can't. And that makes it even more sad. Just a sad, dry glass sitting there. That makes me want to cry and fill Glass Johnson with my tears. So he can have tears, and he can cry my tears. Anyway, that's the end of that. So coming up next, we got Miley Cyrus. But first, this segment is brought to you by Microsoft. Don't make fun of the name because it sounds like penis stuff. Don't laugh at us. Microsoft. Connecting tomorrow to today through yesterday. Now that I think of it, honestly, these are... The ads on here are way better than anything on the Super Bowl. They're also better than the football part of the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be throwing any balls. No balls are going to be thrown at me. That's an affirmation to myself. I say it every morning when I wake up. I say it every night when I go to bed. And guess what? It never happens. Nobody ever throws a ball at me. And so all that stuff I talked about that's coming up, it's definitely coming up. But unfortunately, something else has to get done first. And I really am really sorry. I have to apologize from the bottom of my heart for this, but it's time to bring out Slurp Von Lipstick. He's going to tell us what time it is. Then we'll know. Then we can just move on. I'm going to plug my ears. I'm going to say blah, blah, blah very loudly. I'm not going to hear the time. I don't want to fucking know. I don't want to give him the satisfaction of me knowing what time it is. So without further ado, it's Slurp Von Lipstick, folks. Give it up, yeah. Hey, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, this chair is nice and warm. Hey, I could get used to this. What do you think of me being the host of the show? What do you think of me taking over for doing time check and doing the whole episode? What do you think? People like me a lot better. The polls are showing it. Did you see Rasmussen? Did you see the Rasmussen? Did you see the Ipsos? Did you look at the Ipsos? I'm pulling ahead in Iowa. I know it doesn't make any sense we're doing it by states, and we're not running for anything, but it still matters to me. So the time of nighttime, just to start narrowing it down for you, I'm gonna say I'm thinking maybe there's a way to spice it up a little bit to make the time more interesting. So what else? I'll kind of give you clues. You can take your guesses, and then I'll tell you the answer. So clue number one, it's nighttime. It's sleepy time. Clue number two, this is usually when I go to bed. So if you don't know that, that's on you. But that's still a clue. It's not my problem if you don't understand it. Clue number three. This is kind of like the time of night where it's it's just got to the point where you would probably be it's too late to take a shower. I'm just going to do it in the morning. It's at exactly probably that point, I think, for the average person. This would be the shower threshold. It's do or die for the shower. Okay, so the next clue is that if it were Saturday night, SNL would not be on yet. Okay, so that's a lot of clues, and I think what I'll go ahead and do is just tell you what time it is. It's 11:07 p.m. Nice. It's a nice sounding time. It just rolls right off the tongue. 11:07. I like this time. This is my favorite time. This is my new favorite time. My old favorite time used to be 9:17. It's not for any attachment to the numbers, it's just a good time. But I'm thinking 11:07 might be usurping 9:17. And it's almost not even, it's almost doesn't even fucking come close. Okay, now it's 11:08. Now I feel bad again. Other things that have been going on in my life, you know, my profile is rising, and, you know, it has been rumored heretofore that I may have been palling around with Hollywood royalty, and let's just say the rumors may or may not have any substance to them. Look, I don't get involved in these things. I'm just in it for the time. It doesn't matter if I'm dating one of the, like, satellite Kardashians. You know, the backup Kardashians they got in storage. Whether I am or not, for me, it's all about just knowing what time it is. That's what I really love. That's what I tell Calliope. I'm like, I don't really care. I'm really just more into time. I mean, as the rumors say, that is, I can neither confirm nor deny. I was also voted worst guy of the year. So, I mean, the notoriety, you know, all publicity is good publicity. But they said that, and it literally just has to do with something that happened at a Bed Bath & Beyond. There was a Bed Bath & Beyond incident. I don't want to go into specifics, but from then on, I was called pretty much the worst person of the year. And people specifically said that. As soon as it happened, they said, this is going to be the worst guy this year, I bet you. And look what happened. Look, I guess they were right. Anyway, I'm a highly visible guy. I'm working on a new book. It's just a list of all the different times. Just in case you're like a real time head, and you know, you look at the clock face, you're like, well, I can only see one time at a time. But I want to see all the times at one time. You can now do this. You can see midnight all the way through 11:59 p.m. I list all the seconds as well. And this is really just like, it was really a labor of love. It's really been a passion project for me, and I hope people really get something out of it. Well, thanks for hanging out with me in the time check zone. I've been in the zone. You're not really in the zone. The zone is just a very small physical zone, the time zone. So you can only experience it vicariously through me. I get that that's disappointing. But there's just... You'll never be me. Bye. That's a little man who I hate to have to call Slurp Von Lipstick, but of course it is his name. You have to give him that modicum of respect. You know, in like ancient Jewish tradition, they would change the name of someone who was like very ill so that the angel of death would just overlook them. They'd be like, oh, that's a different guy. That guy's not dead. This I don't really understand the logic of it, actually. But I would think that the reason perhaps that Slurp Von Lipstick, as we have established, is an immortal being, is that perhaps the angel of death thought, I don't even want to deal with that. I don't want to meet this guy. And it's just putting it off. And that's the only reason Slurp Von Lipstick's still alive. He's too annoying to die. They don't even want him in hell. So they just keep throwing him up here. It's like, what are we supposed to do with him? Elsewhere in the world, there's all kinds of things going on. People are just getting by. This week in the news, people are just getting by. They're doing it. Some of them aren't, but some are. Actually, some of them aren't. Yeah, they're not all getting by. Some people are getting by, some people aren't. Back to you. I'm the only anchor. Back to me, I guess, and we're going to check in with our chopper guy. We've met him before. I think how that one ended is that we implied the helicopter he was in had crashed. Turns out that was totally fake. He's totally fine. It was a real helicopter crash. and he lived to tell the tale, but I forbid him to speak about it for legal reasons. The investigation is ongoing. Turns out I might be slightly culpable for not keeping the helicopter maintained. We got it all sorted out. That helicopter is airworthy. What am I, fucking Boeing? I don't get any missing bolts on this. We got all the bolts now. Now we have all the bolts. And Chuck Charles, our traffic man, eye in the sky, is up there. He's eyeing that highway up and down like he wants to take it to dinner. And it's all to help us get to work on time at 11:24 p.m. So, Chuck Charles, what are you seeing out there on the highway today, boy? Are you being a good boy?
Yeah, I really told you I don't want you to ever talk to me like that.
So, and by the way, I'm sorry. Last time I did accuse you of being a dinosaur because you told me you were from Dinosaur Island. I assumed there were only dinosaurs. Turns out there's just like regular guys like you hanging out.
But that's, there's nothing to do with traffic.
You're absolutely right. I just want this to be about the traffic. I don't want it to be about our personal relationship. I don't want this to be about any of the legal entanglement we're in as a result of the helicopter problem. But look, as it turns out, I don't know if you're following the news, but even the greats, they have missteps sometimes. Sometimes Boeing doesn't put all the bolts on either.
Yeah, but I don't really understand why, everything, caught on fire, immediately, nothing even...
Look, we agreed not to discuss the sordid details of what happened. You and I are over it. We're staying professional. Honestly, I feel worse about thinking you were a dinosaur than almost killing you in a helicopter.
Alright, well look, this road is not going to describe itself. It's completely empty. There's nobody here. It's 11 o'clock.
Okay, great. That's all I wanted to know. That is all I wanted to know.
But it's not really traffic, it's just cars.
Okay, well, it's all really very subjective. To me, 2 cars on the road, that's traffic. That's traffic. And I think the people deserve to know about it if there's 2 cars on the road, don't you think?
No, not really.
Well, then why do you do this job?
I just felt really bad. You seem like you really needed someone to do it. And now that I know what the job is, I don't understand why.
Oh, look, I don't need to do traffic check. Time check is enough. How much shit do we need to check?
Yeah, sorry. The helicopter's shaking really bad now.
Oh yeah, actually, I just realized I forgot to actually get the helicopter looked at, but I did my best, just as a placeholder, until a real professional could take a look. Do you think that's related?
Yep, and there's a fire. There's another fire. Okay, here we go.
I'm really trying to get better.
Saying hello!
Okay, well, something that he left out, that was a little bit one-sided. I get that it does sound like I tried to kill him in a helicopter twice in a row. That's not really true. I'm just really incompetent. I don't have anything against Chuck Charles. And I think he was fine the first time. He's probably fine this time. But what he left out of his analysis of the situation is that at least I'm really trying to get better. I really tried to fix the helicopter. Anybody can get in a helicopter. Anybody can do the traffic. Really? It's kind of a crazy risk to take for something that you really don't need to do it. You don't need traffic updates all the time. Guess what? If there's traffic, you're going to find out about it. If there isn't, great. That's all you need to know. It'll be fine. You don't have to be some kind of strategic road genius. You don't have to... You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. Trust me. It's not like you're gonna drive through the traffic like your ghost car and be like, fuck, I didn't know about the traffic. Because they didn't tell me. I didn't know to participate. I just accidentally phased through it and now I'm moving effortlessly towards my destination. So I gotta keep you updated or that could happen. What's going on in your life? What's going on in my life? So I can't guarantee I'm going to really have anything to tell you, but as I've elucidated previously, you can just say blah blah blah. It doesn't matter what you say. It's hard to tell if you can joke, if anybody knows if you're joking when you say things. Because unfortunately, the thing that's the most funny to me is to say the exact opposite of how I feel. And then I've come to realize that this is not how people communicate generally. So perhaps you could say I have a distance from the truth. Where does that come from? You know, why would you want to say things that aren't true? Why would you want to make stuff up? What about things that are true? I'm wearing blue pants. That's a true fact. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with reality? Well, I don't know. I can't quantify anything that's wrong with reality. Reality is physically exactly the way it's supposed to be. Every little goddamn atom is exactly where it needs to be for everything to be the way it is. So then what's the issue? Maybe problems are real, but the problems aren't anywhere in the physical world. You can't find them. The problem doesn't exist without the problem experiencer. There's a lot of things that kind of work like that. That's where it lives, or that's where it emerges from. As do all ideas, and all attitudes, and all thoughts. It all exists in something that you can't really physically find. And so a lot of stuff resides in there. The value of human life resides in there. The right or wrong only comes in through the experience. So what does that mean? We're overlooking the most obvious thing in the world. We pretend it doesn't exist. Nobody should claim to know. That's the only wrong way to go about it. For what it's worth, I also believe there are goblins living under my couch. I don't believe there are goblins living under my couch. I wish there were goblins living under my couch. Nothing under my couch other than just probably a crumb or something. I've never had a cockroach in this apartment, so I'm trying to keep it that way. One thing I've learned though, I'm starting to have a trash issue, and it's a result not necessarily of my own decision, but you know what? I blame society. Here's why. Because I've always in the past made sure that food is sealed in some way when I throw it away. Even if it's a paper towel, if it's a loose food, I would put it in a paper towel. But then I noticed other people don't really do that. They'll just throw the loose, if they have beans or something, if you don't have a garbage disposal, they'll just scrape it off into the trash can. So I'm well, that looks like what normal people do. So I'll give that a go. And you'll never guess what happened. Now my trash can, it smells like garbage. It smells like absolute garbage. And so this is just an example of how I need to trust my own instincts and just go with my own intuition. Generally, it never smells. It only smells like the trash bag, which, the worst version of lemon that the trash bag smells like, that you can't help but associate with trash. It's one of those good smells that is always just used to cover something else up, so even if you don't smell the trash, you just smell the bag and you're this is all smoke and mirrors to make me forget about the garbage. One summer, the cat threw up on the couch, and it was summer, so we spent a lot of time just on the couch. My mom cleaned it, but then sprayed something on it that had a very distinct smell that nothing else smells like, but I just associate it with cat barf because I know the true story of that smell. I know why that smells. So sometimes you think you know a smell, you can't trust a smell. Just like you can't trust people who are dumping fucking clam chowder in a trash can. And it doesn't matter if you have a lid on the can, it still smells bad. The lid is just another illusion. The lid does nothing. It's the TSA of garbage. Well, so I just really needed to get that off my chest. That was our new feature, Trash Talk, brought to you by your local garbage man. Give him a tip. That's right, you should tip your garbage man. Or guess what? He's gonna take your recycling and he's just gonna put it in with the rest of the trash. And you'll never know. You would never know. depending on your recycling, I don't know, it's very confusing. I don't know, we just have a recycling bin in our building, and I just put it all in there, and I take the cans and bottles to the clink, and I redeem it for money at the grocery store. My situation's simple. I don't understand people who are leaving shit out on the curb. I don't know what the hell you're doing. That's advanced level stuff. I'll never get there. Just don't want anything to do with trash. You know, maybe for me the trash is like the truth, you know? It's something I'm just leaving around, I'm just letting it pile up. And I can try to put a nice smell on it, I can try to put a lid on it, I can give it to the garbage man, but it's still there. How can I learn to live with trash? How can I learn to accept trash? And eat it. Well, I don't have to eat it, but I kind of want to, I don't know, just to know what it's like. Alright, well, trash you later.